Hi, welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that be linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. First of all, just before I get into the transfers, a fantastic game yesterday, especially if you was a neutral. Really a game of two halves in the FA Cup. Arsenal 2, Preston 1. Olivier Giroud yet again getting us out of jail. But I must say I really enjoyed it. I'm a bit tired today. I didn't get back until it was about 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday. Long drive back. But I have to say, really enjoyed my time there at Deepdale. Preston fans were brilliant. Arsenal fans are brilliant. That's what FA Cup football is all about. And it was really, really good. But do we need a striker? Now, Arsenal linked today with a striker. And he goes by the name of Andre Silva. He plays for Porto, 21 years of age, and scored a very impressive 15 goals in 25 appearances so far this season. You score that amount of goals, you come to the attention of all the top clubs. The Daily Star, not the most reliable of sources I know, today saying that Arsenal want to sign this guy. He's a target for them in January, which is out of the blue. I haven't heard that before, but he's a target for Arsenal. However, Real Madrid have sort of muscled in, and they have said to Andre Silva, listen, don't sign for Arsenal. Wait until the summer and then we'll come in for you. Of course, Real Madrid at the moment, they've got a transfer ban where they can't go out and buy any players because of their usual dodgy dealings. So Andre Silva is considering that. Now, as I said, this has sort of come out of the blue. Andre Silva, player I've seen play, very good player. Do we need a striker at the moment? That is the really interesting thing I keep saying. Every time, I think about this and I think about previous transfer shows over the years, the top priority has always been a striker. Throughout the summer, every show we spoke about strikers. The previous year, we were linked to every striker moving. This time around, we seem to be all right. I mean, Giroud at the moment is banging in the goals. Alexis Sanchez can play up front. You got Lucas Perez there. Welbeck came back yesterday and just for those few minutes looked lively, had a shot on goal. So I see it as very, very, very unlikely that Arsenal will move for any sort of striker, especially a striker like this who's playing for Porto, Champions League, in the Champions League, so I wouldn't be able to play for Arsenal in the Champions League. Will cost a hell of a lot of money. I just think it's a rumour that's out there from the start, but it's out there today. Andre Silva being linked with Arsenal, as is another striker. We've spoken about this guy previously. Goes by the name of Andre Belletti. Belletti, sorry, I keep saying Belletti. Belletti, from Torino, 23 years of age. I said to you guys during the week that the link is that, Arsenal are interested in signing him. The price, 51 million. Arsenal have balked at that price. They don't like that, but they are interested. 51 million. That's what I'm saying. Like somebody suggested yesterday, if we've got that sort of money, use that and give it to Alexis Sanchez to keep him at the club, because we've already got a top quality striker. We've already got a striker that's scoring the same amount of level of goals in the Premier League proven, even Giroud. But Arsenal linked again with this guy today. Remember, he's only a youngster, he's only 23 years of age, so he would be a guy for the future. Italian strikers as well. Some of the ones that have come recently to the Premier League. Mario Balotelli, for instance, come with a massive reputation, flopped. Simone Zaza, who came to West Ham, has been appalling. So, are the Italian strikers what they used to be? I mean, I don't know. But this guy getting still linked to Arsenal. Again, as I said, highly unlikely Arsenal will sign a striker during the January transfer window. We tell it as it is here on the show. I'm not going to hype it up and start saying, I feel that, I leave that to these websites. They're going to come up with these stories. But for me, I think it is extremely unlikely that Arsenal will sign in these guys. Could we be linked with these guys because it's a bargaining thing for Arsenal in their negotiations for Olivier Giroud? When I did that interview with John Smith, the super agent, these are the sort of things he says goes on. So you might hear rumours come out about other strikers being linked with Arsenal because Arsenal are negotiating at the moment with Olivier Giroud, which apparently is quite close to getting done, but they want to do a contract extension. And possibly they're showing him that hey, you don't want to sign. Hold on. We've got a couple other people in our sights, you know, so if you don't want to sign, don't think you can hold us to ransom. That is part of the whole sort of goings on and shenanigans of transfer dealing. So it could be a bit of that as well. Jack Wilshere today being linked with a move away. Now, again, I've said before, this is one that worries me. We know he's at Bournemouth. He's doing well. Again, 18 months left on his contract. Why? By the time he returns back to Arsenal at the end of the season, a year left on his contract, right? And big clubs are hovering. Man City, we know, are interested in him. Today, it's emerging that Everton, Ronald Koeman would love to bring Jack Wilshere to Everton. And remember, Everton ain't going to be short of a few bob. They've got Wilshere in charge. Of course, he used to be at Arsenal. They're starting to get Usmanov a bit more involved there. So another sort of worrying thing when you start to see these clubs coming in for Jack Wilshere. Jack Wilshere will hold all the power when he comes back to negotiating, unless they can get that done this January. But I don't know what's going on with Arsenal. All these players with 18 months left on their contract, it's just not acceptable. So I don't know what's going on. These deals should have been sorted out from a long time ago. The power is with all of these players. And John Toral, finally, John Toral, I mentioned it during the week. It looks like this one's going to happen. He, of course, is an Arsenal player, very talented player, came over with Hector Bellerin. Big things were predicted for him, but he's had a few really bad injuries. He's been out on loan a few times. Was out on loan at Birmingham City last year, very successfully. He's been out on loan at Granada this season in Spain, but unsuccessful loan period, has hardly played. And Arsene Wenger's like, well, listen, if you're hardly playing, let me bring you back. Rangers want you. They took Zalalim last year. Mark Warburton, who's worked with him before, really wants to work with him again, and it would be good for the player. So it looks like John Toral is going to be heading to Rangers. Let's get into a couple of your comments. Omzi says, and he talks about Per Mertesacker was saying yesterday that Arsenal looking to sign him on a 1-year extension, and there's a lot of people who say, why? Omzi gives a very good reason here. He says, having Mertesacker at the club gives the team a boost because the players know that they have a leader on and off the pitch, whether it be Koscielny or Per. Remember Man City away a few seasons ago when Ozil was walking off instead of thanking the fans. He ran over to him, grabbed him and shouted at him to thank the fans. No one other than him would have been able to have done this to Ozil. And he makes a very good point. The leadership qualities of a Per Mertesacker may be very important to the club. Doid says, we need to keep Alexis. Give him all the money he deserves. And Alpha 10 says, £60 million, he says, for Alexis. He goes, F off. He goes, if Higuain is worth 75 million, then Sanchez is at least 100 million. I agree with him. But the only thing would be, Sanchez would only have like a year left on his contract. So, the negotiation, the big money that Arsenal would be looking for, they wouldn't get. 60 million would actually be a lot for him because he's only got 1 year left. He could hold out and say to Arsenal, all right, I'm going to make my contract run down for another 6 months. Then he's free to talk to whoever he wants and negotiate a massive wage. This is why you don't let these deals run down to 18 months. So, listen, let's see what happens. But thanks for watching Transfer Daily, and we'll be back around about the same time tomorrow. Don't forget to check out all the videos from yesterday's game in the FA Cup. Some fantastic videos there. But we'll be back tomorrow.